Things just took a shocking turn, Padres fans. It seems like the Friars just cannot simply catch a break this offseason, or maybe this season, or maybe just can't ever catch a break in the history of the franchise. What's going on, everybody? Christian Pedersen back with another episode of Padres Digest, the show that I did this one. I don't even have a catchy phrase. The show that's just white-knuckling life as a sports fan in the San Diego Padres world. If there's anything you want to drop a comment on this video or other videos, would love to hear from you guys. You see baseball in a drastically different way than me. Also, if you want to hit the subscribe button, that's great. I don't think, though, we're going to have drastically differing opinions on this one right here. The fact that Yu Darvish is out for all of 2026, missing with a UCL surgery. Okay. We can go to just actually the facts of it, and he's out. He is getting he's already gotten the surgery. He is, as of right now, the statement from Darvish is that he will be working hard on his rehab to be able to throw a ball comfortably again. He wrote in Japanese on his social media, this is the second time that he has had Tommy John in his career. And I want to know from you guys, what is the immediate knee-jerk reaction? And then at the end, again, I want to know what's the, having now thought it through reaction. The numbers for Darvish are not fantastic in terms of what we got from him last year. He never really had a chance to get it all together. He was injured. He was in rhythm, out of rhythm. Even his comeback was disjointed somewhat, of saying, oh, yeah, he's on his rehab start. He'll do well, and then he'll be back tomorrow or back next week. And then it was like, okay, well, I actually know he's going to be gone for significantly longer now. Here's where we're at for me, is I look at this, and I look at the fact that Darvish is maybe a little bit younger than I thought he was, in that I thought he was already 40. So I guess I would ask, is this, I'm trying to think how to say this, because I don't want to be that guy, but do we encroach upon the territory of saying, are we ever going to see Yu Darvish again? I'm assuming we're not at the never going to see him again phase, given that Yu's a gamer, he's a baller, and he's doing this in a way that his recovery from this will be, if he's going to miss all of 2026, he'll come back 2027 with 2 years on his deal and a lot to prove. But that being said, $16 million this year, 15 and change next 2 years. But we're going to have gone 2 years right now with Darvish really not being a contributing element to the San Diego Padres rotation. I'm not going to force a guy out, but it just, the sour taste in my mouth right now is, I feel like we spent all of this past season waiting for a pitching staff to materialize that just wasn't actually there. And so, we thought, okay, Cease, King, Darvish, Pivetta, it's going to be this whole thing. It's going to be great. Obviously, Cease and King and they all were there, but none of them did particularly well. None of them played a ton during the season. So how do we rebuild that? How do we now adapt to losing you? What do the Padres do? I would love that. I as much as I would also not like to lose Yu Darvish, I would love to see this have been an opportunity for him to be like, okay, yeah, hey, appreciate everybody hanging it up. Rehab's going to be nuts and save the Padres a little money, but electing to not do that because we have seen headlines already this offseason relating to Yu Darvish, seeming to not know if he was returning next season. I would assume that these headlines, in retrospect, maybe had more to do with the fact that he was getting this surgery and maybe being a little cagey about not wanting to have all that information. But I would assume that was more the language there than retirement being coded in. But it's an uncomfortable thing when we're now talking about having to fill several pitching spots. Because even in an optimistic view, right now we've got really only 3 dudes returning from our rotation last year. And then Sears and Waldron. But if we're that far away, though, let me throw an idea at you guys. This obviously being something that none of us are inside the clubhouse. We can't make the actual pull the trigger on some of this. But if say that Pivetta and Musgrove can both be like serviceable above average dudes. So that there's some sort of steadiness to the front end of the rotation, guys that can handle big games. If we leave Miller in the bullpen, and we have Morihone, and if Adam comes back healthy from his quad thing at even 75%, and David Morgan and Estrada and Yuki and Wandy, that's a bullpen that I think can be adapted to fit a pitching rotation that's maybe, hey, some of these guys really only go 1.5 times through one time through the lineup type of vibes. A little modern deconstructionist baseball. Obviously, we still got to find out who's going to be the Padres manager, but you do that, and then you spend actually on pitching, and we are on hitting. Woof, horrible slip there to transition into saying spin on pitching after saying not spin on pitching. But then it gives Ryan O'Hearn, I think, is a value, but I don't even want to say that not spending gets us X amount of money, because there has been some signals that the Padres in general are not trying to explode their contracts right now, given that Manny and Fernando and Xander, some of those guys' contracts are going to keep getting increasingly more and more expensive over the next couple of years. But it could be an interesting idea of just let's not even try and put a Band-Aid on the pitching. Let's just roll it out there with what we got, and let's spin on offense. See if that's the spark. I don't know. I know that's kind of wandering off on a tangent following the Yu Darvish news, but yeah, to bring it on home, Yu Darvish out for the 2026 season. No, not even a timetable to be like, oh, he could come back in the playoffs. Yu Darvish is going to have 2 years left on his contract after he's going to make $16 million sitting there on the bench doing nothing all season but rehabbing, and then 2 more years at ages 40 and 41 for the San Diego Padres. So that's the latest. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. And as always, hit the subscribe button if you would feel so inclined. It would be much appreciated. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys soon.